Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are delighted to welcome you to the 7th Information Technology International Seminar 2021, hosted by the Faculty of Computer Science, Universitas Pembangunan Nasional Veteran Jawa Timur, Indonesia, Thursday, October 7, 2021. Honorable Rector of Universitas Pembangunan Nasional Veteran Jawa Timur, Professor Dr. Engineer Ahmad Fauzi MMT, the Dean of Computer Science Faculty, Dr. Engineer Mi Ketutsari MT, the Vice Deans of Computer Science Faculty, our honorable speakers, Professor Caroline Chen from UN Singapore Operation, Professor Naseer from Air University Pakistan, Professor Yunazwin from Institute Teknologi Bandung, respectables, all the lecturers, distinguished guests, and all the participants of today's international seminar. Our deepest gratitude and praises for the God, the Almighty and the Most Merciful, for the blessing He gives to us so that we can gather in this virtual place without any obstacles. We need to inform you that this seminar is organized by the Faculty of Computer Science, UPN Veteran Jawa Timur, and is technically sponsored by IEEE Indonesia Control System Society, CSS/Robotics and Automation Society, RA Joint Chapter. My name is Wahyu Kiastiati Sumarna, and I will be your Master of Ceremony for today's international seminar. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to read today's agendas. The first will be singing Indonesia National Anthem song, continued by the welcoming speech from the General Chair, and then speech from the Chair of IEEE Indonesia CSS/RAS Joint Chapter, continued by the opening speech by the Rector of UPN Veteran Jawa Timur, opening prayers, first break, plenary session, second break, parallel session, virtual photo session, and the last one will be closing. Ladies and gentlemen, let's open today's international seminar by reciting Basmalah. Hopefully, today's international seminar will run well without any obstacle at all. Amen. Next, we will sing Indonesia National Anthem. To all participants here in this room, for a brief moment, we would like to invite you to rise and sing Indonesian Anthem. And for the participants that are doing online, please kindly turn on your camera. Thank you. Our second agenda is welcoming speech by the General Chair of ITIS 2021. Without further ado, I'll give the floor to Dr. Basuki Rahmat, MT, to deliver his welcoming speech. For Mr. Basuki, the floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning and good health and blessing to all of us. Excellency, Rector UPN Veteran Jawa Timur, Professor Dr. Engineer Ahmad Fauzi MMP, distinguished our keynote speakers, Professor Caroline Chen, Professor Norman Naseer, and Professor Yunazwin, and special guest, Mr. Arthur Tunip, PhD, from IEEE Indonesia ITIS Gain Capture. Honorable all international conference participants, all domestic conference participants, all lecturers from UPN Veteran Jawa Timur, and our beloved students. Thanks to Allah SWT that we can all gather online here in good health. On behalf of UPN Veteran Jawa Timur, the Faculty of Computer Science, we would like to express the greatest gratitude to all members, all reviewers, authors, presenters, and committees. We would like to express our greatest gratitude to all presenters from Madura Islamic University, Universitas Riau, Universitas Pulau Warman, Universitas Negeri Malang, Institut Teknologi 10 November Surabaya, Telkom University, Amikom Yogyakarta University, Universitas Diponegoro, Politeknik Negeri Malang, Universitas 11 Maret, UPN Veteran Jawa Timur, Universitas Sriwijaya Madura, Islahan Branch Islamic Azad University Iran, and Mahidol University Thailand. ITIS 2021 conference is technically sponsored by IEEE Indonesia ITIS Gain Capture and aim to add simulate research that will lead to the creation and development of information technology. This conference has 4 tracks that are information system, informatics, engineering, and technology. We would like to apologize for any shortcoming in this 2021 conference. We believe next year, inshallah, can go well and better. Finally, we would like to once again thank our reviewers, authors, presenters, and members of committees in organizing the ITIS 2021 conference. Again, this time to share our knowledge, to share our research products, and enjoy this seminar. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much for the conduction, Mr. Basuki Rahmat. Our third agenda is the speech by the Chair of IEEE Indonesia CSS/RAS Joint Chapter. For Mr. Arjan Turnip, PhD, the floor is yours.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen, and all the participants. As a chair of IEEE Indonesian section, Control System, Robotics and Automation Joint Chapter, I take great pride in welcoming all the attendants to the Information Technology International Seminar 2021, especially our honorable and distinguished keynote speakers, Professor Dr. Ahmad Fauzi, as President of UPN Veteran Jawa Timur, Professor Caroline Chen from Singapore, Professor Norman Naseer from Air University, Pakistan, Professor Yunazwin from Institute Teknologi Bandung, Indonesia, and Dr. Basuki Rahmat as General Chair and all the committee. We are delighted to have you all among us, and on behalf of IEEE and committee, we'd like to extend our warmest welcome and good wishes. Welcome to the IEEE publication through ITIS 2021, a not-for-profit organization, Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineer, or we call IEEE, is the world's largest technical profession organization, which is dedicated to advancing the technological innovation and excellence for the benefit and the humanity. As the larger publisher, we have to keep equality and accept paper before the submission to the IEEE export. As soon as this conference is over, we sincerely request and expect all of the participants to immediately re-examine and revise all the paper, each paper of the author, both based on the reviewer comment in the letter of acceptance and also based on the audience comment in the today's parallel session. Yeah. Before the submission to the IEEE Explorer, we from the IEEE CSS Joint Chapter team will review compiling paper one by one. So if the author do not revise it properly, we will review it again and return it to the committee. And the committee will return again to the author and vice versa. Of course, this process will increase the time for our paper to be published in the IEEE. And one thing that if we re-review the almost, there will be likely additional comment. So if you don't, the author don't want to get additional comment, please immediately revise the paper carefully, accurately, and correctly. As a guideline, generally, the eye-catching error normally in the paper are first, overall format, including affiliation, text and references, image quality, including font size, and the technical problem we are considering about the English quality, structure, uh, such as numerical result in the abstract and submission, literature review in the introduction, which is should be supported from the last published paper in the Reputable Journal, and the clarity and regularity of writing method, quality of the discussion, of course, is part of the structure, part to be reviewed by the IEEE. So I hope that the thing that already mentioned about the part to be reviewed, all participants and the committee together collaboration to re-examine the paper of the author. So if we are able to follow all the instructions, usually the paper will be published less than 1 month after submission to the export. And as an example, most recently collaborative conference, we call it Enhanced 2021, conducted by Universitas Prima Indonesia in Medan, last August 2021. It was published after 10 days submission to the IEEE. I mean, we revise and all paper are in good way, so we publish soon. So once again, thank you for the hard work of the committee so far, especially the review process after the conference again. Let's enjoy sharing knowledge by today's conference and welcome Indonesia, especially Surabaya. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arjun. Our fourth agenda is the opening speech by the Rector of UPN Veteran Jawa Timur. We also would like to request the Rector to officially open this international seminar. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Dr. Engineer Ahmad Fauzi, M.Sc.
Thank you. Good morning. Distinguished keynote speaker, Professor Caroline Chen from Australia, Professor Norman Naseer from Pakistan, Professor Yunazwin from ITB, Honorable Master Arjun Turnip, PhD, Chair of IEEE Indonesia, Associate Professor Dr. Ketut Sari, Dean of Computer Science, UPN Veteran Jawa Timur, Master Wahyudi Agustiono, PhD, and Master Dr. Bashir Ahmad, and beloved colleague from UPN and others university, and beloved all participants of the Information Technology International Seminar 2021. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Alhamdulillah, all praise to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. For today, we are given the opportunity to meet again at this extraordinary forum and share knowledge at this very special moment, Information Technology International Seminar. It is 2021, dealing with information system, informatics, engineering, and technology. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the development of technology has become common things, especially the development of information technology today is indeed much more rapid than in previous year. The transformation from mass technology to technology that is more sophisticated is easy and fast. It cannot be denied that one of the main causes of the globalization era, which is coming sooner than everyone talks, is due to the rapid development of information technology. The implementation of the internet, electronic commerce, electronic data interchange, virtual office, telemedicine, intranet, and so on, bridge physical boundaries between countries. The combination of computer technology with telecommunication has resulted in a revolution in the field of information system. Currently, it seems that people will not be able to live without a smartphone because this tool is very practical and can facilitate whatever they want. This is one of the most popular finding innovation from advantage in information technology that has been able to greatly help people live from remote villages to big cities. Dear honorable guests, therefore, I appreciate the idea of holding this seminar. Hopefully that through the discussion in this seminar, there will be foreign innovation that enrich the science of information technology whose progress is getting faster. Thank you to the resources person from overseas who have been willing to share their knowledge, and my appreciation to the organizer committee, student, lecturer, and practitioner who have enthusiastically participated in this event. Hopefully, all of your effort and hard work will produce results that exceed what we expect and will certainly provide extraordinary benefit for others. Distinguished audience, apologies for any inconvenience that might occur during this event. Thank you, everyone, for your participation, and may this event bring success to all of you in making a better life. Have a great discussion. Good luck and pacing. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I officially open today this forum. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmad Fauzi. The next agenda is opening prayers. The prayers will be led by Mr. Arista Pratama. For Mr. Arista Pratama, the floor is yours.
I'm allowed to lead the prayer for all participants. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. O Allah, open for us the door of virtue, the door of blessing, the door of grace, the door of strength, the door of faith, the door of health and salvation, because on you are the most gracious and most merciful. O Allah, give fluency to this event. It is ITIS 2021 until it's finished. Amin. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arista Pratama. Before continuing to the next agenda, I would like to remind all the participants to sign the attendance list by visiting the landing page of FASILKOM web. The link is the same as written in the presenters WhatsApp group. Ladies and gentlemen, we are arriving to the most exciting agenda of today's event. That is the keynote session. The plenary session, we will invite three great speakers. Professor Caroline Chen from UN Singapore Operation, Professor Naseer from Air University Pakistan, and Professor Yunazwin from Institute Technology Bandung. I will also invite Mr. Wahyudi Agustiono, PhD, as the moderator of the plenary session to lead the session. Mr. Wahyudi, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Tess. Can you hear my voice? Okay, good. Good morning, everyone. May I have your attention, please? We are about to start our plenary session. So I have Honorable our Rector in UPN, Professor Ahmad Fauzi, our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and especially our respected keynote speakers. We have here Professor Caroline Chen from Newcastle University, Australia. And we also Professor Naseer from Air University Islamabad, Pakistan. And last but not least, we have Professor Yunazwin from ITB Indonesia. Before we start this plenary session, I would like to say hello to every my keynote speaker. Hello, Professor Caroline, how are you? Can you unmute your mic?
I'm very well, Pak Yudi. Can you hear me? Terima kasih.
Oh, good. Yeah, I heard Australia is getting better from COVID-19, right? And we hope you are always healthy. Okay, special for Professor Caroline. After her presentation, we'll have 10-minute question and answer because Professor Karen will have some another row of activities. So without further, I would like to welcome first Professor Caroline to present your topic today. Professor Caroline will talk about shaping the future IT profession. She will introduce as Australian and Chief Executive ON. Yeah. Okay, I think times and floor is yours, Professor Caroline. We have
Okay, thank you. Can I
about
share my
45
screen?
minutes if you would like.
Can you see my screen, Pak Yudi?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So terima kasih Pak Yudi, and thank you everyone. And I'm so delighted to be invited again for the seminar and conference in Indonesia. I miss Indonesia so much. I haven't been there for I don't know now, of almost 2 years, I think. The last time I was in Indonesia, it was I think February 2019, I think, and then the pandemic, and then we got locked down, and no one can go anywhere. So I'm very pleased that I can share some of what I found here with all of you over there. It's a pity that I can't see your face, which I really miss, but at least now I can see Pak Yudi face. So thank you. So don't turn off the camera, Pak Yudi. I just want to also pay my respect and thanks to Bapak Rektor, so Bapak Ahmad Fauzi, for allowing me to be part of this conference as well. So when I was asked by Pak Yudi to do this conference, I was thinking aloud what would be the most useful that I can share. So firstly, let me introduce myself. So my name is Caroline Chen. So I actually was born in Surabaya. So I am Arek Surabaya. However, I have left Surabaya for a long time, and I was in Australia for a long time, and I was with RMIT University before I moved to University of Newcastle. And in RMIT University, I was the dean of the School of Business IT and Logistics. And then after that, when I moved to University of Newcastle, I was asked to be the CEO and PVC of the Singapore operation. I noticed that you were introducing me with that, but now the Vice Chancellors want me back to Australia. So I'm back to Australia, and I am living here in Newcastle, which is about 150 kilometers away from Sydney, and it's a beautiful place. But apart from that, I'm also the chair of the Australian Computer Society, or ACS, Accreditation Committee. So I mentioned that because I will talk a bit about that, which I think give me some credentials why I think it's important for me to mention it. And I'm also an industry fellow on the Skills Futures of the Australia-Indonesia Center. And again, I mention it because it's relevant. So probably now we can go to the next slides, Pak Yudi. Pak Yudi, the slides. Yep. So this is what I'm going to talk about. So the world and the future work. So what it looks like.
Yeah,
why
it's coming.
It's and why it's important, and the impact of this on the technology, on the jobs, and then the impact on technology and digital skills, and then aligning job roles and curriculum, and what would be the role of the government, industry, and individual. So that's the area that I'm going to talk about. So next slide. Next slide, Pak Yudi. Yes, I just give you a bit of a picture here, but this is basically, I was in Singapore. It was home for a while. So I left Melbourne. I was in Melbourne, and then I went to Singapore early this year in January and to take over the operation over there. And then I was told to come back here about 1 month ago. So now I'm in Newcastle. So this is the picture of Newcastle with the ship here. And then that is my campus over in Newcastle. So we have a city campus, which is you see on the right side there in the city. And we also have a very big kind of regional campus. Next slide, Pak Yudi. This is about Singapore, which is quite different. I thought there is a lot of similarity and with Indonesia. And one of the reasons I went to Singapore is actually I wanted to be closer to Indonesia. I think Pak Yudi mentioned before that I have a number of projects that I work in Indonesia, and I really like to be close by. However, the pandemic obviously tell different story because we won't even be able to travel. And while I was in Singapore, though, we almost so close to opening up, and we did opening up, and now we go back for restriction. So Singapore went from 0 cases of the COVID-19, and now it's become 3,500 again. So it's it's the world that we don't really know. But just some of the tips about the coffee. So in Singapore, if you want to order coffee, then you have like a 20 different type of coffee. Okay. Essentially, it's the same. It's the 3 ingredient. It's just how much is the milk, how much is the sugar, whether you want less sugar or you want, how much is the coffee. But what's interesting, I love about Singapore is the multiculturalism. So you will see like even having this coffee. So I learned that coffee that I drink, usually like just black coffee, like what we usually have in Indonesia, kopi hitam. And we have to say it, kopi o kosong, Kopi means kopi in Malay. And then o means what is like nothing, probably. And kosong, so without milk, o, and kosong is without sugar. So just a bit of a tip for fun. So Pak Yudi, next. It's a bit difficult, isn't it? Can't really control my own mouse here. Now, this is what my own pictures from Singapore. I just pick a few, when you're in Singapore, but this is everywhere now, that you would see. This is where my office is in Suntec, you would see the robot is actually cleaning the floor. They're there all the time. They never get tired. So you will see the man behind that wearing orange suit. That's actually the cleaner. So I just want to show this because now the cleaner doesn't have to mop the floor, doesn't need to hold a vacuum cleaner to vacuum the floor, but he just have to instruct the robot. Here you go. And then he left. And then after he left, after a couple of hours or whatever, then he will be coming back to, to tell the robot that you finished and then for the day, So that's how it is now. And the next slide, Pak Yudi. Pak Yudi, the next slide. And this is another one that I'm having fun in Singapore. I went to a lot of places, and one of the places that I went to is the fish farming in Singapore. When you're looking at this, you will see this is like equivalent of in Indonesia, probably tambak, yeah. maybe tambak pintar, or a smart farming place, so with all of the technology, and the location is actually in the office block, so in the building. So this is how they do fish farming, because Singapore doesn't have land as much as we do in Indonesia, so they do the fish farming in the offices. And we are very lucky in Indonesia because we can grow our own food, and grow our fish and things. But in Singapore, 95% of the food are imported from other countries. So they try by 2030 or 2050, I think, 2030, they try to have 30% of the food can be produced. And that's going to be a big challenge for them. So they try to do it using smart technologies. The next one, Pak Yudi. So this is my experience through traveling from, during the pandemic, from Melbourne to Singapore, and then come back here. We all probably experience the same, One thing that you will never leave at home is your mobile phone. Because in Singapore, if you leave your mobile phone at home, you don't have a mobile phone, you can't go anywhere, because you have to scan all of the code everywhere. And your mobile phone is active because it's monitored, the Bluetooth. So it is important that you bring your mobile phone. And another thing, of course, the mask, you have to bring your mask everywhere. So it's different. And the same, again, when I come back now in Newcastle, for example, I can't go anywhere. We have a lockdown now. We only go for 5 kilometers. So I have to check, as you can see there, what is my radius within that 5 kilometers. And all of these things are technology driven. Okay. So now next slide. Okay, so why I show all of those things? Because I want us to reflect back. I want us to reflect what we have in Indonesia and how we can develop Indonesia, especially when we have such a great aspiration. We try to be a smart nation. We try to develop our human capital, and we try to build our capability, with the Industry 4.0, with all of the things that we're trying to do and put it in the national strategic priority. How are we going to do that? Okay, so this kind of reflections. So it's the lack of quality human capital poses a major challenge in the country like Indonesia, when we try to build the economy and also to grow our people in the sense of their education and their capabilities, skills and capability. Next one. Okay, so we can go very quickly here, Pak Yudi, because after that I want to have a bit more discussion rather than just showing slides. Okay, this takes a long time, the slides delay. So I just want to show some of the job advertisement here. If you see the job advertisement, so I took all of those. I will provide the slides later to the panitia, to the committee, so you can see it properly a bit later. But if you're looking at the jobs advertisement now, you will see of the ICT professions. Okay, you will see in the jobs what they need is things like machine learning scientists, for example. These two, for example, machine learning scientists, and the other one is the and the other one is the conversational RT architect. Okay, so what does that mean? Okay, of course, you can read all of the position description there, and you can read the qualification. And the qualification, if you read it, it will just be the Bachelor of Computer Science. And then with some experience, the experience could be like developing a chat box, okay, or which is technically can be categorized as artificial intelligence. Okay, so I just want to show you these are the job advertisement at the moment. I'm not talking about future, I'm talking now. Okay, so when we're looking at that, yes, that's correct slides, Pak Yudi. Just next, because otherwise it takes a long time. Pak Yudi, next slide. Yes. So I want to show you here again. So the picture on the left, that's our conventional or our traditional ICT professions. Okay. We used to have what? Network engineer, administrative, IT administration, or we have database manager, or we have, IT architect, engineer, or those are like the commonly or conventional or traditional type of ICT profession. So Pak Yudi mentioned to me that there are some of you here are students who are listening to this, okay? And I assume this is what you think that you're going to graduate. Can we go back, Pak Yudi? You might assume that, okay? However, when you're looking at the jobs now, okay, it's not about the business analyst anymore. Yes, there are still, of course, there are still there. But think about it, in the few years' time, okay, those requirements would change, when you're looking at those, the picture in the middle, which you're looking at all of the need for the automation and the machine learning, and then the data analytic, data mining, and all of this. So you will see that there is a change in terms of the professions that is required in industry. Okay. Now, next one, Pak Yudi. And also when we're looking at the professional association, so Australian Computer Society is a professional association and responsible for the accreditation of the courses. But you did correct, the next one. And responsible for accrediting courses in many of the university in Australia and overseas. Okay, and Australian Computer Society looking at moving, or it's already moving, and I'm the chair of the accreditation committee. We are already changing some of the requirements of the professionals. Okay, so you can go to their website and do a bit more digging if you would like to see a bit more details in what are the requirements of the Australia Computer Society in accrediting courses. So just the next one, Pak Yudi. So, and similarly, the Australian Computer Society looking at the skill framework for the information age, which you all may be familiar already. This is a framework that is used to align a workforce to deliver the needs, in the organization, and it's used worldwide. Okay, and we always looking at the roles of the SOPHIA. We call it SOPHIA, which is the skill framework for information age. But also we're looking at the CBOK, which is core body of knowledge. Okay, and we always have these two references. Okay, because we need to align ourselves with industry. We have to make sure every graduate that is graduated from a course that is accredited by the Australian Computer Society is actually employable and meet the requirement for the industry. Okay, so next slide, Pak Yudi. So this is, I just want to show the impact of the COVID-19 on technology workforce. So I will be very quickly. I think Pak Rector mentioned before, now that we work from home, so we have a home office, and also we even go to the doctor virtually now, using the phone or using the computer to talk to the doctor and all of those things. So those are the impact during the COVID-19. But that's going to continue because technology is there, And this is, I give an example in Australia here, which I think will be, similar to what happened in Indonesia. But the implementation of emerging technology, the new technology that's coming, that's actually will increase the workforce in the ICT as ICT professions, And the same, if we have in Australia here, about 152,000 additional jobs because of the emerging technology, you can imagine how many millions that we will get in Indonesia. Australia population is about 26 million, okay, and Indonesia is 260 million. So it's like 10 times, okay. So, and not just that, it's there are 2.7 million, this is in Australia, will be at risk of the automation across Australia. So this even worse, probably I would expect how this is in Indonesia. Okay, when I talk about skills, digital skills, it's not just being able to use a WhatsApp or updating your Facebook. No, but it's more about understanding, okay, how AI works, for example, and how to understand the algorithm and all of the logic associated with this process. Next, Pak Yudi. Okay, so now I want to show, maybe I will just show quickly because the delay of the slide is very, is a bit much, I just want to show you about the Sophia 8. This is the document that just been published, just been released 28th of September. So what date is now? So it's just about a week ago, okay? So the Sophia 8 published, about a week ago, and then it's putting in additional skill. As you can see here, there are additional skills that Sophia has put in, which is mainly one things that they put is in the security and privacy, and then the governance and risk, and then data analytic, and then change analysis, as well as the management, as well as security services. If I want to mention this, we in ACS already included, the cybersecurity, for example, as part of the essential knowledge. So everyone, if they're going to study IT, they must have cybersecurity component of it. Okay. So, and the same with the project management, for example, and soon we introduce also a specialist accreditation in the cybersecurity. And soon we are looking now in the data science accreditation as well. So the slides that Pak Yudi put on now, what I did is I was trying to see what we're doing. So I'm not comparing, but I just show it to you. These are what we're currently doing. You might have recognized the left one with all the beautiful color. That's actually the curriculum of the program study in UPN on the information systems. Okay, the blue and white one, that's in Newcastle. Okay. So I'm not saying one way better than the other. I was going to say that both of them need to be updated. Okay. So this happened very quickly. So Sophia published last week. Okay. And we did in the Newcastle because it's under the accreditation. So we already included what in the ACS. But sometimes in Indonesia, because there is no accreditation as such, so sometimes a bit lagging. But this is important when we're trying to ensure our graduate will have the skills they need when they graduate. So can we go to the next slides now? Maybe we go. Okay, so the next few slides, I'm not going to go through all of those, probably. The next few slides is basically showing you the skills that's needed in every job roles, and in particular, those job roles that are new. So for example, like when you're looking at the, can you go to the next 2 slides or 3 slides, Pak Yudi, so we can go through this very quick. For example, like the one on the big data, the blockchain, and then, the robotic and automation, those are the skills that will be, that will be required in that stream of the job roles. Okay. So this is based on the survey, but we also based on the PEEP career stream that is with the top 5 of Sophia skills. Can you just go quick for the next 2 slides, Pak Yudi? Because I think we're running out of time. Yes. Now, the next one that I was going to say, what does it mean then? Can we go back to the slides, the 2 slides before this, Pak Yudi? Next, before this? No, after this. Yes, after this slide. No. After this, next. The one with the micro credentials thing. Yes, technology sometimes fail us. And this is no, before that. Yes, this one. Okay, so we can see here, I'm just showing here that no, but you didn't go there. That was the correct one. No, Pak Yudi, can you go back? I want to say something here. Yeah, that's correct. This is, stay there. So what I want to show you here are some of the micro credentials for professionals that we as an individual can upskill ourselves. Okay. So if you are, say, for example, okay, the university will need to update their curriculum, but they don't have the time to do it. And you are in the 3rd year now, for example, then you want to have these skills. How are you going to do it? So don't worry, you can learn. Okay, you can learn and find there are some free courses. You can learn by yourself, or you can to upgrade your own skills. And I show you a few of the example of the micro credentials there that for you to do. But I also want to alert you, because now the computer, for example, we're teaching the non-technical workers also with the IT skills. Okay. So if you are not upgrading yourself in terms of your skills in the ICT, it is likely your job will be taken away by somebody who's not even, studying ICT, for example. Okay. So it is important to keep learning and to keep upgrade ourselves in terms of the skills that we have. Okay, now the next slide, Pak Yudi. Okay, so why I'm saying that, this is going back to my first point before, I have this really passionate about Indonesia and how we can bring Indonesia to the top, one of the top countries. Okay, probably it's a bit hard to beat Singapore. They ranking 11. Their university like NUS, for example, they're ranking also top 20 already. So it's hard. But even if we can come on par with Malaysia or Thailand, for example, in terms of human capital development, then let's do that, and we can. And we've been trying to do this. And I personally have been trying to work with many Indonesian champions like Pak Yudi themselves, for example. So we recently, last year, we had a cybersecurity for the MSME, for the micro and small medium enterprises. And that's actually has quite significant impact. It is about 100 MSME that we train, but that training going to train other people. So we're creating community of practice. And Pak Yudi has been championing in that area as well. So if we all can do our bit, try to do that, then we could potentially, improve ourselves as a nation and be making ourselves pinta. Yeah. Okay, now the next slide, Pak Yudi. It's probably one of the few last slide. No, before this, you missed one. Before this slide, Pak Yudi. No, there is one slide. The one that has government
We
future
don't
of
have
the
it.
profession.
Only the one.
The title is Future of the Professions. Maybe the slide has changed order. Future of the Professions. I just want to conclude with a kind of thinking.
Yeah.
What can we
Change
do?
order.
Yeah, this one. So what can we do? Because we know everyone has a role. Okay. So I think from my point of view, if we are the government and if anyone in the government here, and if not, then probably can lobby the government, first to update their occupational list. Okay. Because those are the roles, ICT roles, that need to be included in the list. Okay. And then as a business and industry, if anyone from the business or industry, I would like to make a commitment to the education institution like UPN or ITIS or whoever, to probably have a commitment to them. Well, if you can train 100, I don't know, machine learning scientists or artificial intelligence architects, then probably I will take all of that 100 students. I will give you some funding to train them, So if you are industry or businesses. And on the other hand, as an individual or as a university as well, okay, it is all our jobs to prepare our graduates. Make sure they are relevant for the future. Make sure they can be an ICT professionals that's relevant and can contribute to the community and can have a job as the ICT professionals. Okay, so finally, that was the last slides by Yudi before the thank you one. I just quoted some report that I was part of it, that I was writing part of it. That is for those prepared to invest their time and energy. You will have, there are rewards to be had. So I think that's, finish my presentation. I think it's almost, 45 minutes already. I know it's frustrating with the slides being very slow, but thank you very much for listening. And I'm going to stay around if there are any questions. Pak
Yeah,
Yudi, over to
thank
you.
you, Professor Caroline, for the very inspiring speech, and it's really important, especially many. Yeah, we
Pak
have so
Yudi, I
many
can
students
hear.
here attending the conference, and especially how they are facing the future. As you mentioned, that it's important to be relevant with the future, and then to be the professional in IT, and also if you mentioned that give me 10 AIs expert or data scientist, and I will change the world. I'm sorry for the delay because I don't know. This is the technology. It should be more advanced. But anyway, we have about 10-minute question answer because I know that Professor Karen will have some agenda after this. Anyone can put the question on the chat and I'll read. Yeah, any question? So if any question, please, I will welcome in the YouTube channel. You can put your question there. Now read for the Professor Caroline. So if there's no question, maybe I'll ask one question for Professor Caroline. So instead of your mention about the current evolving technology in IT, so what would you suggest for Indonesian students, especially for the IT subject, to be ready in a very soon, very quick, I think.
Yeah. What was your question, Pak Yudi? Pak Yudi, I couldn't hear you.
So instead of you already mentioned in your presentation, I know the sorry, we have a technical problem here. And
I know, and
okay,
there is
can you hear me, Prof. Caroline?
now I can, but I couldn't before. I just somebody asking about this
For the delay.
the curriculum. So I just put in a
Okay.
chat. So Pak
Okay. Yep.
Arjun, you're welcome to email me if you need anything. I think the
Yeah.
technology failed us this time. It's very hard to communicate, but I just sent you a link that's on the sophiaonline.org, and that can be if you go to the link, and there is a Sophia 8 document that was just been published, and you could download that, and there are huge, it doesn't mention the roles itself, but it's mentioned the update of the skills that will be required in the ICT area. I hope Arjun is there. I can't hear Pak Arjun.
Hello. May,
Hello, now
yeah,
I can
okay.
hear. Yes, Pak Arjun. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah.
I think there's a delay.
Actually, I'm highly marked about
You
the
got the delay and yeah.
I'm highly marked about the curriculum in Indonesia. So I was so surprised when you mentioned about it.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I remember when I was in the undergraduate, the same material,
Mhm.
I got the same material. Even now, I am as a teacher, as a lecturer. I
Yeah.
teach the same material when I was in undergraduate. So
Yes,
the,
yes.
the, the question, the big question is, as we know that the engineer should be highly improved, updated nowadays according to the development of the technology,
Mhm.
requirement of the technology in industry or everywhere. However, how could the student, the graduate student, will be different
Mhm.
if we just give the same material from the year to
Absolutely.
year?
Yeah.
So this is the big question for me actually, because when I teach now in the university, the same material is still the same material. So the problem, but we expect that we should provide the high quality, updated quality of the undergraduate student or even master and so on. But the problem, the curriculum is still the same. So what
Yeah.
your idea or your opinion about this kind of thing? Thank you.
Yes. Pak Arjun is quite a complex place, the lecturer also need to be involved in the development as well. It wasn't just I'm keep telling the machine, and same with you, Arjun, but at the end, sometimes and the only limited time probably for the lecturer, they don't update their knowledge, or and then they just keep using the same slides. For example, when they're teaching, they don't, and updating curriculum is not an easy thing as well. But what I'm trying to say here, just to show this is the reality. Okay, if we're not going to do this, if we keep doing what we're doing and we're not changing it, in I don't know, in the 10 years time, we're going to even behind everybody, because our university, if you're looking at in one of my slides, we're looking at the QS ranking. Okay, the top university number 1 in Indonesia is on the 200, between 200 and 300, 250 or something like that. Okay, how are we going to get there? How are we going to compete? Okay, while you're looking at the neighboring country like Singapore. Okay, Singapore, the NUS and NTU, they the top 20 in the world. Maybe you would say, okay, don't compare us with Singapore. Okay, fine. So pick your own, in Surabaya probably cari sendiri musuhnya ya. Just find the one from the Southeast Asian country. Just pick. Okay, let's try to benchmark and then able to actually be better, But it's not easy. I realize it's not easy. It's it's always, I just finished a project with Pak Yudi on cybersecurity. Okay, it's a free program. We provided everything. We got the funding from the Australian government, and we got mentor, and we provide a lot of resources to these people. But I can tell you, it's successful, but it requires a lot of work. Okay, but are we saying then if require a lot of work, then we do nothing? No, we must do it. Kita harus tetap have to be doing it. So yes, it's struggling. my suggestion is, yes, talk to, I think there are, if we're looking at Indonesia, there are progress. So I'm not saying there is not progress, there are progress. If you're looking at the literacy in Indonesia in 1970, for example, compared to now, it's increased significantly. Okay. If you're looking at how many people can afford the basic education, sekolah dasar dari SD sampai SMA, yes, improve significantly, but we can't stop. Okay, we need to keep improving because everybody else improving, and worse than that, because now we have no option. The technology is there. So if we are beaten by the technology, we will don't have the employment, and we will have a lot more problems. So I think, yes, I think you're right. There is no one single answer, and I'm not trying to solve the world, but I think we all must doing it, and keep doing it. I hope that helps. But I give you the link there, so if you can.
Thank you. Thank you. The nice discussion, Bu Caroline and Pak Arjun, for your very insightful question. Yeah. I think it's time up. Thank you very much for Professor Kalin for the speech. I hope we can have another better chance to talk with you again. And
thank you, Pak Yudi. I think I don't hear you again.
So please, everyone, give a big hand for Professor Caroline. And I know that you are very busy. And yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you. All the very best. Let me know how it goes, and I'll talk to you.
Hope you very healthy and stay safe.
Yes, thanks.
And good luck for your very busy agenda today. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, sure. We will with you in Surabaya and we'll provide you sate. All right, everyone, thank you for still here with us. And now we move to the second keynote speaker. We have Professor Norman Naseer from the Air University Islamabad, Pakistan. So I'll check. Is Professor Roman, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yes, I'm here and I can hear you well. Can you people hear me well too? So am I well audible?
Yeah, probably a bit, I don't know, the mic is not too far.
Just a moment, please. It's just close to my mouth now, so I think it should be fine. No?
Okay, that's good. Yeah, sure. But
So
the
is
thing
that
is,
okay
we
now?
have a bit delay, so hopefully that still make us convenient. And anyway, what time in Pakistan now?
Right now it's 7:45 in the morning.
Oh, that's too early for you, right?
It is early, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Without further waiting, so I would like to invite Professor Norman Naseer to present his speech today. Please welcome Professor Norman Naseer.
Okay, so I hope my presentation is clear and well visible. What I'll be talking about today is neurorobotics and machine learning for neurorobotics and robotic rehabilitation. In the background, you can see Air University of Islamabad. It's a beautiful campus just at the foot of Magla Hills. I'm the head of Neurorobotics Research Group here in the Department of Mechatronics and Biomedical Engineering. This is the city that I'm sitting right now in, Islamabad. Just to my right window, I can see these Margala Hills. The good thing about these Margala Hills is that they receive snowfall in winters and they're extremely hot in summers. So in summers, the temperature rises up to 45 degrees Celsius. And in winters, it usually goes down the zero mark. Anyway, both summers and winters are beautiful in Islamabad, and we call our capital city of Pakistan, Islamabad, the Beautiful. Also, right now in October, the temperature is very pleasant. It's sunny and just 22 degrees. So if you wish to visit Islamabad, I believe October is a very good month to visit. It's neither too hot nor too cold. These are some of the photos of my campus, which is right at the foot of Margala Hills. It's really close to Margala Hills. In fact, it's the last sector before Margala Hills start. And we often go for hiking to Margala Hills on Saturdays and Sundays. It's really enjoyable. So we have a quite green campus full of greenery and some modern structures. So today I'll talk about neurorobotics in general and brain-computer interfaces specifically. I'll tell you something about the human nervous system and how we make different kind of brain-computer interface or, prosthesis or BCI systems. Well, the word brain-computer interface is not new. Back in 1924, Hans Berger was the first person who detected electrical activity from human brain. And this opened path for further research. If we can detect some kind of electrical activity from human brain, can we use that activity to do something? Can we decode some messages from those activities or not? That was the question. So this person just detected the human brain activity using electroencephalography, or what we call EEG. Before going further, let's focus on the human nervous system. So human nervous system in general consists of two major parts. One of them is called the central nervous system, which consists of all the neurons in the brain and one neuron that runs along the spine. And then we have the peripheral nervous system, which is basically all over the body. So the messages are generated in the brain. They are transferred through this spinal cord neuron to the peripherals, and we can move our limbs, hands, and legs. However, if for some reasons the spinal cord neuron is damaged, then although messages are generated well in the brain, a person cannot move his hands or legs. In that case, we make brain-computer interface systems. We try to acquire signals directly from the brain and control external devices for those people. There can be another situation as well. In that situation, the central nervous system is working fine, even the spinal cord neuron is fine, but there's an amputation because of some accident or disease. So what we do is we just attach or connect a bionic arm or a prosthetic device or a robotic device, which can essentially do as much as it can to replicate the human hand or leg motion. For example, if you see this thing, so this is what we want to do. This person is wearing some electrodes in his hands and he's moving his hand. And because of the movement, the signals are detected and that robotic arm is also moving in those directions. We have come a long way through in this research, and in fact, a few years ago, the DARPA developed this prosthetic hand in which you can see that this person, his right hand is actually a prosthetic hand. He's controlling this right hand through sensors, the electromyography sensors, EMG, which are placed on his shoulder. And you can see that he can essentially do all the works that are required in a daily basis. However, we can still see that this robotic arm is not as robust as a real human arm. So there still is a slight time delay. There still is a delay, and I mean, it's not as robust to external disturbances as a real human hand is. So there's still a lots of room for improvement. We started this work back in 2015, 6 years ago. And at that time, just one undergraduate student of first semester came to me. And he says that I want to develop some system which can replicate a human arm. I did not have any funding at that time. So what we did was we made a very basic and a very cheap system. That's actually his workplace in his bedroom, actually, not even in some lab. And he made this thing. So you see, when he's moving his elbow, the elbow of a robotic arm is moving. When he's moving his wrist, the wrist of the robotic arm is moving. And when he's moving both elbows and wrist of robotic arm is moving. Now this system was made in just $20 using recycled things, ice cream sticks and jumper wires and potentiometers, etc. So this project, we did not have any funding, so it was a very cheap and a basic level project back in 2015. Then as we got some funding, we got a device which is called a Myo Arm Band. Now this Myo Arm Band detects muscle signals, and those muscle signals are transferred wirelessly to a laptop where different signals are decoded using machine learning algorithms, and then the control commands are sent to this robotic hand, which can actually perform different tasks. Let's see. So you can see that the person is doing different gestures, and based on those different gestures, the different individual fingers of a robotic arm or a robotic hand are moving. You see, this was also a very basic level work because eventually you want fingers to move as a result of moving individual fingers, not really different gestures. So in this work, you can see The person is doing different gestures and different fingers are moving. Eventually, for prosthesis, we want different fingers to move as a result of finger movement, right? But decoding and classification using machine learning algorithms for that specific task was not easy. Anyway, next year we improved this work, and we improved it to individual fingers. So it was done by three of my undergraduate students. Uh, well, how it works is that we acquire signals through electromyography device. We send those signals to MATLAB for further processing, where different noise removal and pre-processing algorithms are applied before machine learning algorithms. Then we get the control commands and try to, control the robotic arm. This robotic hand was actually fabricated in our campus as well. So you see, now this time the thumb is moving as a result of movement of thumb. The little finger, the middle finger, and so on and so forth. So of course there was a problem. You can actually see the problem. One of the problem is the time delay, and another problem was the classification accuracy. Of course, I have shown you the video that is 100% accurate, but in actual, this was not 100% accurate. It was around 80% accurate. So out of 10, only 8, gestures or movements were decoded absolutely fine. We had troubles in others. So one of the problems was the decoding accuracy, and another problem was the time delay that you can see. In real scenarios, when we attach a prosthetic arm to a real person, we don't want any classification errors, and also we don't want any time delays or minimize time delays as much as we can. So this was the case when the spinal cord neuron of a patient is absolutely fine. However, in another case, when the spinal cord neuron is damaged, and even if the limbs are fine, the messages do not reach the limbs because the spinal cord neuron is damaged. So messages are developed absolutely fine in the brain. Even the end effectors or the hands or legs are absolutely fine. However, the problem is that the messages from the brain or the connection from the brain to end effector is broken. So in that case, we cannot use EMG. We cannot use muscle signals because there is no activity at the muscles. So we are left with no option but to acquire brain signals directly, process those signals, bypass this system, and control the external devices. And that's exactly what we do in brain computer interface systems. So these are the different steps involved in brain computer interface systems. It starts with, first of all, acquiring the brain signals. So there are different methodologies that can be used to acquire brain signals. Then when we acquire the brain signals, they're full of different kind of noises. We need to remove them. We need to pre-process the data. And then based on the data, we acquire suitable features of different classes or different activities in the brain and try to decode those activities using a classification or machine learning algorithm. The output of that machine learning algorithm is given to the application interface, which could be a wheelchair control, a prosthetic device control, even a word speller, or anything like that. Well, there was a major breakthrough in 2007, and this paper was published in 2008 in Nature, in which invasively we implanted the electrodes inside the brain of a monkey. So we opened up the brain and implanted electrodes inside the brain of the monkey. And his hands were all tied up. And we fed him with the banana. And let's see what happens. So that monkey actually controlled the robotic arm using his brain signals only. You see that his hands are tied up here. He cannot move his hands. He's just controlling the external device or the robotic arm using brain signals. This was a major breakthrough, actually. You know, when we were able to do this on monkeys, we should have been able to do this on humans right away, but it took us 4 years to do that on humans. This was primarily because of the ethical approvals, which we did not get well in time. To do experiments on monkeys is a different thing ethically than to do experiments, not implementation, the experiments on humans. So, after 4 years, the same was done on humans.
You would.
Oops, sorry. So this lady was tetraplegic for last 15 years, and she could not control her hands and legs. So she was implanted, her brain was opened and electrodes were implanted. And those implanted electrodes were used to record signals. And those signals were used were decoded and sent to this robotic arm. And using this robotic arm, she was able to feed herself with a cup of coffee. It was published in Nature in 2012. That was first of its kind study done on humans. So, sorry. So she was able to feed herself with a cup of coffee without any external help. Tetraplegia is such a bad disease that even if you have to scratch your nose or eat or drink anything, you're dependent on other people. So she was able to do it on her own after 15 years. So a major breakthrough. However, what we want to do is to be able to achieve same thing using non-invasive methods. So you can see that in this particular case also, we opened up the brain and implanted electrodes inside the brain. The question is, can we do the same with electrodes placed on the scalp and not inside the brain? Because in invasive methods, we have certain other complications. It requires surgery. It requires, scars to heal up. The electrodes which are implanted inside the brain should be biocompatible. After some time, they might become rusty and may develop scars, etc. There are lots of complications available when we talk about invasive BCIs. So can we do the same using non-invasive systems? We tried it, and they tried to control based on EEG, electroencephalography, a wheelchair. That was first of its kind wheelchair built in Pakistan, and that was back in 2016, I guess. So this person is actually controlling this wheelchair using his brain signals only. He's trying to focus on something on the screen, and he's turning the wheelchair right, left, forward, and brake. So there were four classes that were decoded. This actually project won the ICT award from the government of Pakistan as well. Of course, this was not a perfect project in a sense that even if we want to convert it into a product form, we still have to improve the accuracies, because when we get the licensing from the medical society, the DRAP we call it, Drug and Regulatory Association of Pakistan. So what we have to do is we have to get the license. They ask or demand for 100% accurate system, so that the paralyzed people do not suffer anything because of the misclassification of the device. Also, in the same year, we developed another system which was called a home automation system. You know, if a person is bedridden temporarily or permanently for any reason, he or she cannot even turn on the fans and lights of the room. Even to turn on the fan and light of the room, he or she has to request someone. So we tried to make a system for such people in which they can just wear a headset, and based on their thoughts or signals from the brain, they can turn on the lights and fans. We were able to do that. So this is one demo of this system. Actually, in this one, they also used, some muscle signals from eyeball movement. You can see he's using his blinking signals to turn on lights. He's winking, eyebrow raised. Okay, so after that, we also developed some lower limb rehabilitation systems. In fact, right now, I'm doing one project for Government of Pakistan under National Center of Robotics and Automation, in which we are trying to develop a lower limb rehabilitation system. And in this system, we can see that right now, this is a manual system. This person here is actually pressing the button to make the patient sit and stand. What we did is we tried to actually make it, based on the intention of thinking of the patient himself. So we did a BCI based control of prosthetic limb using FNIRS as well, in which we actually developed an FNIR system on our own. FNIR system is basically based on light. So we incident some light inside the brain, and we output some light out of the brain, and we see that what changes the light has absorption changes, the light has gone through during the process, and we try to estimate the brain activity because of that. You can see if you if you put your hand on this near infrared light, you can see evident changes in the signal. So if there is an activation, the signals would be different. So based on this, we actually developed hand closing and hand opening, intentions. So this person is using his brain signals to actually open or close the robotic hand. There were some other applications that I worked on too. One of them was binary decision decoding. There was a case in which there was a person who was totally in a state of vegetation. The vegetation state is in which a person's all inputs are working fine, but none of the outputs is working fine. He could listen to us, he could see us and process it in his brain, but he could not give any output. So what we did was we tried to decode the brain, where we asked him to perform one activity if he wants to answer in yes, and another activity if he wants to answer in no. And we tested the data, and it was around 82% accurate system. Of course, we checked the accuracy of the system based on the answers, based on the questions whose answers we already knew. So we extended the system to multiple choice question decoding the next year. However, as the classes or the choices of answers increased, the classification accuracies decreased. And the reason was that there were more signals or mingled apt. So the machine learning algorithm was not able to, identify it very efficiently as it was able to identify a binary system efficiently. So also when we saw this thing, we thought that a lie detection system can be made as well. So we found out that the neural correlates of telling a lie are different than those of telling a truth. So of course it was not a standalone system. It was basically based on it was basically complementing the polygraph system. The conventional polygraph system actually uses many signals like blood pressure, heart rate, amount of moisture in the body. We complemented that system with, the brain signals, and the accuracies of the system were increased by 15%. The conventional polygram system was approximately, 80 or 82% accurate, but with brain signals or neural signals included, it was around 95% accurate. But still, we cannot use such systems, in judicial or law or conviction, uh, s- cases, because I mean, until unless these are 100% accurate, you don't want some innocent people to go in jail because of such system. Then we have developed a drowsiness detection system as well. So back in South Korea, there were lots of truck accidents because of drivers sleeping on the smooth and motorway roads. So what happens was that we got a project in which we, detected the drowsiness before actually a person was sleeping. So from the brain signals, and sounded an alarm based on the drowsiness data. The oxygen concentration actually in the brain, as detected by functional near infrared spectroscopy, changed. So those changes were detected, and based on them, the system was developed. All of these works were published in high impact international journals. Well, back in 2017, I visited a conference on heart diseases, and I saw that most of the trainee doctors or most of the trainee cardiac physicians were not able to identify correctly some of the some of the ECGs that were shown to them by their professors. I was shocked because we usually trust them blindly, but most of the trainees were not even to identify the diseases correctly. So I thought we should make a system based on machine learning which can automatically detect heart diseases, or at least five most commonly occurring heart diseases in Pakistan. So I proposed it, and it was funded by the ICT of Pakistan, ICT R&D, which we now called Ignite Funds of Pakistan. And we got a huge funding for this project. We hired a whole team and developed this system. This system is actually implemented in hospitals in Pakistan now, and it can detect up to 25 different diseases, heart diseases, based on the ECG waveforms. So they are not making the decisions independently, but they're helping doctors make a decision. So they can give you a percentage of how much percent this are the chances that this is the disease, and doctors can make the decision based on these systems. These are actually now implemented in hospitals in Pakistan. Well, we've been talking about brain controlled computers or brain controlled external devices. Can we do the opposite of it? That's an interesting question. Can we control a brain using external devices? I think we can do that. So some research has been done in this, field, and this rat is actually being controlled through external signals. So what we do is we externally, electrically stimulate those neurons of the brain of the rat that are responsible for, moving it right, and vice versa. So, of course, this rat has a free choice. It can choose not to obey us, but if he does so, we actually give it a negative reinforcement, or we hit the pain neurons of of his brain. That's cruel, but somehow we have to do it for science. And if it obeys us, we stimulate the pleasure neurons of his brain. So in this way, it is trained to obey us. This kind of experiments have not been done on humans yet. We did not get ethical approvals for these. However, it has been, it can be shown that if we can do it on, rats and mouses, we can do it on humans as well. So you see, if we can control external devices through brains and control brains through external devices, so eventually we can control brains through brains, which is actually very exciting as well and very dangerous as well. So it can be used in very good things, for example, therapy, counseling, etc. But it can be used in very bad things as well. For example, brainwashing, using someone for bad purposes, etc. So we did not get ethical approvals for it yet. Well, based on these works that I've shown you, we have been able to publish 2 book chapters, 35 international journal papers, and 65 conference papers. So total number of publications have just exceeded 100. And we have research collaborations in many different countries of the world, including my own professor, Professor Hong in Korea, and some professors in USA, France, Portugal, Turkey, and Japan as well. Well, this is my actually group, and in 2017 we got a major breakthrough when there was a local competition called Robo Mela, which literally translates to Festival of Robots. And we went there, and out of 12 prizes in total, we won 7 of the prizes. So Air University was totally, my research group was totally dominant in that competition. We got a lot of praise from all over Pakistan. So these are all my group members. In 2018, there was a major breakthrough in our research group when we received the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation Award. There were a total of 860 proposals, out of which only 10 were shortlisted, and only 1 received this award, and ours was, Alhamdulillah, one of those. And we visited in October 2018. We visited Tokyo to receive that award from the representative of Bill and Melinda Gates. This is my research group when we started back in 2015. This is the wheelchair that was controlled through brain signals. And we were, just a few people, but now over the time we have grown a lot and are doing some excellent work. I have right now funding of more than 500,000 US dollars, more than that funding. And there are 3 or 4 subgroups working with a total manpower of around 30. 27 and 3 are staff member. So 27 are technical team and 3 is the staff member. Well, that's my contact information in case you want to contact me through WhatsApp, email, website, or we have a Facebook and Insta pages as well. Well, that's all from my side. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, you're most welcome to ask. Back to the host.
Thank you, Professor Noman, for the very deep and very insightful presentation, especially on, I think it's a very high touch knowledge. Yeah. So we have here a student as well from the computer science from the UPN, and also some of the presenter. So if anyone would like to ask for question to Professor Norman, I will welcome. Let's see in the YouTube chat.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, so I can see one of the questions on the screen. Should I
Any question?
start responding?
Oh yeah. Ada
Okay.
pertanyaan?
So the question says,
Okay, that's
would you
good.
mind to explain about specifications of
Yeah, yeah,
hardware or sensors
yeah,
that
yeah.
you use to catch human brain EEG? Yeah, sure. So you see, EEG is available commercially in different, from different companies. What we specifically have used in our research is the Emotive Epoch Plus headset, which is a very basic level headset actually. So they're just electrodes, silver or gold plated, just like the electrodes that we use to capture the heart signals in ECG. So they're similar to those electrodes. But the real thing, starts when we get those signals already. We get those signals, and we then try to pre-process it and, decode using classification algorithm. Some of the hardware that comes, the devices that come, they do come with the processing algorithms as well, but they reduce your chances of doing research actually. So what we do is we develop our own. So the hardware actually was Emotive Epoch Plus. I hope this is the answer. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we have also another question from Ibu Intan. She is asking,
Yes, I can see the
brain
question.
computer. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So yeah, absolutely right. I mean, it has actually, one of the major applications of brain-computer interface system is to be able to help the paralyzed people, those in need, those who want to be independent, even with some kind of special needs and disabilities. Well, there are lots of ethical aspects, and that's the most, challenging part in our studies. Even when I write a proposal, I have to go through many different bodies to show them that we're not going to hurt the patient. We're not going to, we're trying our best not to hurt the patient or make him uncomfortable in any case. So one of the ethical aspects, of course, is that we're dealing with patients, and we cannot afford to do um, some kind of experiments which could be dangerous for their health. And then there comes another aspect as well. When I talk about brain to brain communication, then I told you that there could be used for bad purposes as well, for brainwashing, for making someone believe the things which are not true, etc. However, what my belief is that as scientists, we need to invent things. And this responsibility of the whole community to use it for good purposes only. For example, scientists innovate the knife. That knife can be used to cut apples and fruits, and it can also be used to kill people. So, as scientists, our responsibility is to make new innovations and try our best as a community to use it for good. Anything in the world can be used for good and bad. I hope this is the answer.
Thank you. I think another question from Hermawan Effendi. Yeah. In the pre-processing stage, how to remove noise from the EEG signal?
Okay, good. So there are lots of methods that can be used. It depends on what kind of noise are we targeting. So in EEG signals, we have some very basic noises, for example, line noise, which can be notched out using simple bandpass filters. And there can be some noises because of intermixing of different kind of activities. For that, we can use independent component analysis, wavelet transformed, power spectral decomposition, and other kind of different filters. For simple line noises, we can simply just remove those using the band pass or notch filters.
I think the last question from Afif Hendrawan.
Okay, good question. That's actually the main challenge. I mean, in BCI research, there are three challenges. One of them is, you know, uh, one of them is that you have to reduce the computational cost. You have to make it a real-time system. You have to improve the classification accuracies. And another one is that you have to somehow reduce the cost, and the practicality of the equipment should be improved. So there are different kind of signals in EEG that we can use. For example, P300, SVEP, motor imagery, etc., etc. So based on different signals and using efficient algorithms, which are like faster and more efficient computation and algorithms, we can somehow reduce the time, but it's still difficult to we are still far from the exact real time scenarios.
Thank you for the sharing, Prof. Noman. It's really great. I know we have still more questions, but unfortunately, we are limited with time. But I hope everyone can ask if any question through email or something. If you would like, Professor Noman, Naseer, if
Absolutely,
anyone will ask you,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, most welcome. Everyone is most welcome to contact me
Or
via email or WhatsApp or
it's
whatever
very,
to
I think, really
comfortable.
interesting, especially in the nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're dealing with robotics and etc. Especially now in Indonesia, we use robotics to help the medical treatment for the COVID-19 patient. So because
Okay. Okay.
to reduce more physical contact, so we use robotic for treatment for the COVID-19 patient. So
Wow.
and probably in the future,
Interesting.
we hope we can collaborate. I saw the campus of our university is very beautiful, and I will make sure I will be really like to stay there.
You're most
Of course,
welcome to
Indonesian
come. I will
really
facilitate
love
you.
that scenery. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Hopefully, the COVID-19 will live down, and we can offline meeting, right? Again, thank you very much, Prof. Norman, for your very insightful presentation and really
Most welcome.
give us a new perspective. And please, everyone, give big hand for Professor Norman. Thank you very much. I'll see you again, Professor Norman.
Thank you.
Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Okay, thank you. We have one more keynote speaker. We will have welcome Professor Yunazwin from ITB. Professor Zul, are you there? Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good. Professor, your time and stage is yours, and we will really keen to hear your presentation. Please welcome Professor Junaswin from ITB.
Okay, how you do? Can you hear my voice? Hello, how are you? Can you hear my voice?
Yes, clear.
Okay, so I want to share my slides. I hope is it okay. Can you see my presentation? Pawayudi? Hello? Can you see my presentation? Hello? Hello, Pawayudi? Hello? Hello? Can you see my presentation? Hello? Hmm. Hello, Pawayudi, can you see my presentation? Hello? Problem. Hello, Pawayudi, can you see my presentation? Okay. Can you hear my voice? Yes? Okay. Okay. So, okay, thank you very much. So, I hope you can hear my voice and also my presentation. It's a bit frustrating for me because I was trying to also download for the background, but then I have to download some software and so on and so on. And well, at least for me, it's not too easy. And well, at least I can now present my talks. So my name is Yulio Nazarudin, as you mentioned. So I'm the chair of Instrumentation and Control Research Group in ITB. In ITB, there are more than 110 research groups dealing with many subjects. We are from the Faculty of Industrial Technology, so one of the research group in ITB. And what I'm going to talk now is about the design of a perception system for the autonomous vehicles. This is a bit different with two other keynotes before. This is more the application on autonomous vehicles. So the outline of the talk will be divided into 6 actually. So the first one is the autonomous vehicles as the futures of mobility. The second is the perception system for multiple object tracking. This is an example what we are doing in the last 1 year or 2 years ago. And then the third one, how to implement this real time with our golf cart. And then the fourth one is the localization of the autonomous vehicles in various environments condition using Orbeez Slam 2. And the fifth one is the implementation, real-time implementation using autonomous golf cart. And the last one will be the concluding remarks. Okay, so autonomous is becoming more popular nowadays because, Indonesia is also starting to busy to be busy also. According to global markets estimates, model estimate, the autonomous car markets will reach 37 billion in 2023. Well, it's another 2 years. With the growing annual rate is about 16.8%. So it's very challenging. And you see, if you use the autonomous car, then you will have a saving. For fuel is about 158 billions. So it's going rapid development, not only from the university sides and also from automotive industries around the world. This is due, among others, to the autonomous vehicles' potential to provide safer driving experience compared to regular vehicles driven by persons. Not only giving less efforts and comfortable driving experience, but also safer compared to other vehicles. According to statistics from National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, about 94 accidents caused by human errors. So unlike humans, artificial intelligence-based autonomous systems will not either exhausted and losing concentration for doing tasks this repetitively. Okay, how to make a vehicle autonomous? So as you can see from these pictures, there are many things that we have to take care, and it's like a human. The speaker before was talking about how to use a brain. It was very interesting, and as you can see here also, if you have a vehicle, then you have to see your environments. For example, how to make including avoid collision and also braking aid and also collision on the rear car and so on. So there are many sensors that we have to use for the autonomous car. This is some pictures just to give you an impression what is the autonomous car. You can see it's look like very nice, of course, but if you see the next slide and presentation, there are many things have to be done before it can be used autonomously. So why autonomous car? Why we are busy with the research dealing with the autonomous car? Probably you may also know that Indonesia is going to have a new capital city. It is located in East Kalimantan. So I'm also a member of a task force from the Ministry of the Transportation, who since last year is doing a study how to implement the autonomous vehicles in general in this new capital city, because our presidents Jokowi wants to have all vehicles in the new capitals to be autonomous and electric. So on the left side down, you can see the pictures of our new capital city in East Kalimantan. So because of this task force, I can learn many things about how to develop this new capital city. We have more than 15 members group, expert from different expert in ITB and also from the department. So as you can see, Jokowi said that he wants public and private transportation in the new capital city to be the first in the world that uses only autonomous and electric vehicles. It was planned that 2025-26 it's already implemented, but due to pandemic, it seems that it will be postponed 2 or 3 years later. So we want the first capital city in the world with mass and private transportation using autonomous and electric vehicles. We will build it the way so everything can be efficient and cheap. That's what the president said in one of his talk. So that's why we were starting with many research dealing actually since 4 or 5 years ago dealing with autonomous system. Actually, there are three elements to make a vehicle autonomous. The first one is the perception system. Perception system acts in obtaining information from the environment in order an autonomous vehicle to recognize its surrounding and location. And the second one is planning. This is a process of deciding the best option of movement from start to finish. And the third one is control, how to control or the ability of the car to execute and actuate the previous two element, perception and planning. Of course, perception is very important related with the vehicle safety. What is perception actually in autonomous vehicles or autonomous system? It refers to ability of the car vehicles to collect information, extract relevant information from the environments. You can see here from the car in its environments, and how to detect an object. It could be different types of object. It's not only human, also different kinds of car, different kinds of animals, different kinds of any subjects, multiple objects, static or dynamic. It could be moving persons, and also different kind of person, different kind of cars, and etc. Of course, including road boundaries, road sign, and also marking. Where the obstacles are located and data by the semantic. So a lot has to be done to make the car autonomously. What is the environmental perception? Of course, it provides the vehicle with crucial information, driving environments, where is the free drivable areas, location, velocities, and even prediction of their future states. Another crucial perception task is localization. This is very important for the car to estimate the position of the car or the vehicle in the surrounding environments, of course, with respect to the reference coordinate system. So it must be very interesting to do research in this area, because a lot of technology, a lot of subjects has to be learned and so on. So what is the roles of the perception system in autonomous vehicles? First, you have sensors. You have LiDAR, you have camera, then you have also GPS, or the so-called global navigation satellite system, and also tire velocity. And it will give you information about localization, environment mapping, and land detection. What we are dealing now, it's one of the topics is localization. So it must have information from the global navigation satellite system. And those information will be given to the local planning, and then to the control of the car so it can move. So without a reliable perception system, the autonomous vehicle will not move optimally and safely. That's important. To fulfill all these objectives, we need sensors, everywhere sensors, cameras, and of course software and IT. This is a part of you are expert, of course. And how to comprehend the environment around the vehicles. And the most important thing, how to make it real time, because it has to move in real time. This information will be sent to the perception system in order to make the vehicle move reliable and safe, also for the environment. If you travel with a car, or if you move alongside the road, then you will not get hit with the car. Okay, so I want to explain two research work that we have done in the last, where we have at least, I don't know, more than 15 research work have been done or currently also undertaking with our students. But due to limited time, I just want to talk about two, the perception system for multiple object tracking. What is our proposed solution? Well, at least we have three components that we have to deal with: object detection, object matching, and state estimation. Uh, in this case, we use also a deep camera for our experiments, and also another sensors, which is located in our experimental car. Okay, so this is to give you an example how is the object detected and then how to classify. For the object detection, we use the existing software, YOLO. They are already YOLO 4.5, version 4, even version 5. So we make a comparison because this project was done last year. So at that time, it was only YOLO 4, the most advanced one. But we did some comparison with this two mechanism. So YOLO version 3 and YOLO for version 4. This is for the object detection mechanism. For object matching, because you have to do also object matching, which means that you have to know that two objects are different or same. Yeah, if you see objects. For this case, then we use a simple neural networks models and also ANOVA test for testing the algorithms. And the most important one is also algorithms, which called ORB, oriented fast and rotated brief algorithms, which is used as an additional feature extractor, and it is paired also with the Brute force mature algorithms to solve the problem of diversity from some inputs candidates. Okay, so next. Beside those two algorithms, we also implement the state estimation using the extended Kanban filter, because we want to predict the position and the velocity of the object because it moves. Also, it reduces error caused by the camera, intrareal send camera, from depth range 1 to 15 meters. And this state estimation not only estimating the position and velocity, but also estimating the error states simultaneously in predetermined range of measurements. This gives you an illustration how to differentiate between these two objects using ORB, object matching. Orbeez is a method for extracting features from an image, which has an effective computational process invariant with rotation and also resistant to noise. Okay, so a lot of image features fail to be extracted, so that's why we have to do some optimization procedures. In this research, we did also some optimization using genetic algorithms and flower pollination algorithms in order to get a more good match rate distribution. You see, as a result, we from the statistic, we conclude that the genetic algorithms is the best result in the number of descriptor. So all image features can be extracted using the genetic algorithms parameters. Okay, so the result, you can see, okay, one more thing that To help the object matching mechanism is classified better, whether the objects are same or different, we also implement the machine learning algorithms. We tested 10 algorithms: logistic regression, decision tree, random forest, Gaussian naive Bayes, and so on, until neural networks, stochastic gradient descent algorithms too. So at the end, as the result of this investigation, we concluded that the neural network is the best, also although other is not too far. You see the random forest, decision tree, and other. This one, stochastic gradient descent, is also a good one to have a good results. So, but the end, we use a neural network because due to the sparsity of the models and less vulnerable to overfitting. This is the result of the matching. You can see it has, this is the same object, the blue one, and the red one is the different object. You can see the difference here. So there in the stack, there is no the same like this one. So we have a good result. Okay, state estimation, then you have to use a Kanban filter. It's more mathematics, but just to give an position and information about the velocity. This is the example that we use the algorithms, the design algorithms to detect, for example, a moving object represented by student here, to see how accurate the result is. Okay, so next one, this is the result of the algorithms, how to identify the movement of the objects. You see here, according to Kalman filter. Okay, so we also investigate this using real-time experiments. So we put the camera on our golf cart and tested the algorithms. You can see it can detect the distance quite well, and also the velocity and the velocity and x and z position. Okay, so this is well, there are more pictures to show, but due to limited time, just to give an impression to you that we can put the camera and track the movement of the object. Of course, there are also example of many objects, and this works quite well. Next, I want to continue with the second experiments that we did, well, at least a few months ago. So how to localize the autonomous vehicles in various environments. As I mentioned to you in the beginning, the situation that the GNSS is often used for the localization of the car, and the problem is the GNSS is unreliable in the urban environments. For example, under the trees or under a shaded area, it will give you not exact information. So in this case, we use the VSLAM, Visual Simultaneous Localization and Mapping, as the solution. You can see here using, so our purpose works has also some new ideas how to do the other algorithms using real-time works, and to do the experimental for controlling the golf cart. Besides, we use also the cost-effective sensors, namely the Interreal Sandy 435 for deep camera for the sensor. You see here the depth camera that we were also using for the experiments before. What is the Orbeez Slam? Well, I mentioned also about the ARB, but this is related to the Slam. So it's open source actually. Compute the camera trajectory and sparse 3D reconstruction in real time. For features the extraction, it has two algorithms, fast features from accelerated and segment tests, which detect the key point of the objects and also descriptor of the object using binary robust independent elementary features. Okay, so there are actually many, well, in the literatures, at least MonoSlam, DTAM, and Orbeez Slam, but at the end, after make comparison and so on, and improvement, use the Orbeez Slam 2. It has the bundle adjustment optimization and feature-based visual algorithm. So there are some steps in implementing the Orbeez Slam 2, sensors, tracking, local mapping, and loop closing and global bundle adjustment. This is a bit about the oriented fast and rotated Orbeez Slam. It has to detect a pixel, and then you see this is a pictures, then it has to detect a pictures, and then some algorithms is needed to how to detect, and then how to move, and then how to make a description of the key point, and so on and so on. Well, I cannot explain it because of too many slides to show, but at least for implementing these algorithms, we have 15 steps. Yeah. First one, you see for finding key point, post camera prediction, camera position orientation optimization, local map tracking, determining the eligibility of the new keyframes, and also inserting keyframe, minimizing map points, removing redundant keyframes, and also loop closing, detecting loop, and until the adjustment, full bundle adjustment, or keyframe and points optimization. So you see, it's not so easy to detect an object, and then using camera, it looks like if you drive the car or you try the car directly, but to implement this, you have to pass through several technology, or even this, for example, experiments. You see, this is our experiments using a golf cart, and this is the schematics of the algorithms. I didn't explain about the controller because it was already done also. So we have a Stanley controller and retro controller, and also we have to do something with the car, traction system, braking system, and also steering controllers, because it will steer the vehicles automatically, and angle of the we have to put also angle sensor for the steering, and so on. So a lot of work have been done for to make this autonomously. You see here the Orbeez Slam algorithms that we developed, with a lot of steps has to be done, and it was put everything in the computing hardware and also software. Okay. So this is the GNSS, and this is the camera, the inter-real scene camera. So this is an example. The camera has stereo vision and also color, so red, gray, and blue color. So we make a comparison based on RGBD and the stereo setting, and based on the camera. Okay, so this is the information received from the GNSS, and this is from our algorithms. You see, this is almost the same Using information come from the satellite, and also from this is for stereo and this is for the LGBT. But interesting is that it almost run on the same pathways. Okay, so we also did some comparison about the frame rate. You see different frame rate, 15, 30, 60 to 90 was investigated. So at the end, we concluded that 60 was the best one. So this is the 60. Well, although the 90 is also the best. So some experiments were done, which are not explained here, to have a very good result. And at the end, we try to implement this real time using our golf cart. There are three trajectories that we tried. The first one is straight trajectory and turning case if the car is turned. And also we tried also to implement this in a closed area, so shaded building. However, it is working properly because there is no information about from the GNS, but the car runs perfectly autonomously. Okay, this is the one example only. You can see this is a closed area in shaded area inside the building. So there is no information from the GNSS, but it works perfectly. You can see this is the comparison between the waypoints, well, the exact routes, and the autonomous vehicles trajectory. Okay, so there are many videos and other results that have been undertaken during the result, but at least just give you an impression whether this works experimentally or not. Okay, so well, that was the at least two experiments that we did for the perception system. There were also one research dealing how to detect the age of the roads, for example. It's a lot of algorithms inside. This is also related with your subject IT because it deals with IT. We try now to do perception for car if there are many cars in front of the autonomous vehicle and so on. And there are 2 or 3 for more research. We got also funding from the government and so on. So from those what I presented, there are some remarks. We show 2 approach for perception system design for real-time implementation, autonomous vehicle, and multiple object trackings based on object detection, object matching, and state estimation. Prove the task admirably for the autonomous vehicles proposals. And we utilize also some algorithms, neural networks, RLB, machine learning, and also genetic algorithms and FPA, flower pollination algorithms to implement the perception system. Also, the Orbeez Slam successfully implemented for autonomous vehicles, and it could be used to replace the GNSS if the car moves in critical environments. And this also showed that the interior sun camera can be used for perception system. Okay, I hope I don't know whether the time is limited. Still, we have the time for question and answer. We are free, or anybody who wants to collaborate with us in developing the autonomous system for the car. We are now also have some projects with the Pendo Triga to develop the so-called automated guided vehicle for containers in Surabaya, so in collaboration with PT Inka. So ITB Inka and Pelindo, it should be also the first one in Indonesia how to build the container truck autonomously in the port in Surabaya. Okay, so I hope this give you ideas how to implement the perception system. And back to Pak Wahyudi. Pak Wahyudi. Hello.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Can you see? Can you hear my voice, Pak Wahyudi?
Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you, Prof. for the very high and high innovation. I think. Yeah. But
I
also,
cannot hear your voice, Pak Wahyudi.
I can see from the. Can you hear me? No?
Hello.
Okay. Hello.
I cannot hear your voice.
Check. Hello. Okay.
Hello.
Bisa dengar, Pak? Halo. Halo. Hello.
It was better. It was better, much better, but now it's a bit too low. Can you speak louder or?
Okay. Okay.
Wow, that's good. Okay. Very
Anyone?
good.
Okay, good. I can see from the YouTube chatting there's some question.
Sure.
So and operator can show the some question from the YouTube. Yeah, a lot because this very interesting topic. Okay, there's one comment from Harun Rashid.
Okay, thank you. Shall I answer the
welcome.
question?
Please, I welcome Prof. to have.
Okay, so thank you, Pak Harun. We
Yeah,
have
sure.
also people. This is Pak Harun from ITB because in our group there is also Pak Harun Al Rashid, the same name. It's also in our group for developing the autonomous vehicle implementation. But this is not the Pak Harun. Yeah? Okay, we have the same name. Well, you can say this is too fast, but the research in EV car is also now running. So in the group, we were talking also a lot about the EV car because, for example, the car is not only what I mean with the AV, autonomous vehicle, in the capital city, it's not only car or vehicle. It is also a bus, also tram, also train, and so on. So in the group, there are also people dealing with the charging system and so on. So we were thinking about these two in the capital city. So not only autonomous, but also EV vehicles, electrical vehicles. So we have also expert in dealing with this and also how to build the charging system around the city. Well, this people is also a part of the group developing the charging system around Indonesia. Continuous development, it takes time to develop. If we don't start with the development now, then we will also only import of the cars or vehicle from abroad. I'm also in the team for developing the tram autonomously in Jogja, Solo, and we have to compete with the China because they develop also the autonomous tram. So the ministry has asked us, or in cooperation with INCA, with other, with BRIN and BPPT, to develop together this system.
Okay, next question.
Another question, it's unnecessary to use the LiDAR sensor to train the autonomous. This AI to do the object detection, LiDAR is only used at the front of the back of the car to do that. Well, you need the sensor. So after that, then the AI will do the rest. If you use only AI, then you don't have any information from the outside or the environment. So you have to use sensors, either LiDAR, either camera, either many sensors. I see, it did with a lot processing power. Okay, exactly. So what I'm going to show, or I was going to show to you, is there is a lot of processing power, there is a lot of algorithms, there is a lot of AI to be implemented to do only for the processing the system, only for the perception system. If you want to know more about the control, you want to know about the other subjects, then there is another subject. Any more questions? Is using human as an object. What if you are trying to detect multiple moving objects with speed? Will they, your experimental detector is using human as an object detection. So what happens if you are trying to detect multiple moving objects? Well, actually, it was only an example to give you an idea. Actually, we also use another objects, not only human, but also car, also while there was actually, I don't know, what is it, the object standing in the front of the car, and also many objects, not only human. If you are trying to detect multiple moving biscuit, yes, of course. Yeah. So we detect also only, not only the position, the distance from the vehicle to the moving object, but also the speed of the object. For example, if you want to detect the multiple moving motorcycles, it will detect also the speed of the motorcycle, yeah, using this information.
Thank you. Next question, probably.
I have a question. Where do this machine learning are going to start? Well, this is a very interesting questions. We use the high-end computers, of course, because then everything deals with object detection, costs you a lot of computation times and memory. So some are done using cloud. For example, you know the Google Colabs to do the experiments, but to do an experiment real time, then you have to make it real and fast. So it's very expensive, of course. What Tesla did is also cost you a lot of money. And with a limited amount of research funding, we try to do the best and then see whether it works or not. Once we got funding very much, then research in autonomous system is very expensive, you know, and you have to use the machine learning, you have to use many AI algorithms, which take you a lot of time and for processing. And if you want to do it real time, then it should be fast because the car has to move and so on and so on. What I want to say is, yes, any questions? Another question, please. Based on your experimental issue, it only one camera. So how you planning to develop with multiple camera? Okay, so you need to buy another camera. One camera costs you a lot. You know, if you want to buy a LiDAR, very expensive, it costs you about 200 million rupiahs only for the LiDAR. And if you want to buy a camera, very good, you can put in the front and the rear of the car. Then you have to buy a camera which costs you 20 millions each. So you see, this is very expensive research. So we will continue with the research, of course, and asking money from the government whether we want to move with the autonomous systems. This is a good question. Any more questions? Thank you, Pak Harun. I invite
Any
you
question?
also people from the, again, I invite also people or students from the UPN to collaborate with us and then to do something. If they want to come to us and they do something, research project and so on, please do. I give you the email at the beginning of my research, or you can ask Basuki whether we can collaborate also in this area.
Yeah, thank you very
This
much.
is a very
Very
challenging
interesting,
research
and
area.
that's a very good opportunity.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Very good opportunity. Suara saya bisa? Suara saya masuk? Masuk. Okay. Thank you, Professor. Really, it's not about developing something high tech, but this is also about the nationality prosperity. Because we are also competing with other countries like China and other advanced countries. So
Yes,
it's
exactly.
not merely we create something, but this is about our nationality, and this is about our country. So this means a lot. So if we are thinking about this is the prosperity of our country, then we will put more effort and we will very seriously doing that one, regardless
Okay.
there are so many obstacles, many barriers. So if we really look not only for uh, our prosperity of the country and the people, then I think this is worthwhile to do. Is that correct, Ms. Professor?
Yes, yes, exactly. We have to compete with other countries in this, well, as
Yeah,
Prof.
and also
Carolina also says, yeah?
yes, yeah, yeah,
If we don't start
yeah, and
now,
also the opportunity to collaborate is also
yes, well, we open to anybody who wants to collaborate.
okay. Yep. Thank you very much, Professor. I think we would like to discuss, but the time is limited, and I hope to have you again in another very good occasion. Last, please.
Okay.
This is one question special for Pak
Does
Harun.
the line scanner on the iPhone Pro series does work as design your automated sensor because it's the same thing? You can say, okay, you can use it because my students did also the same thing. But scanner is very limited. Whether well, my student did also at the beginning using camera, yeah, camera on their phone, and at least it makes the camera, it makes the algorithms work. This is very important. I told you that there are so many algorithms, and then how to make these things work is also not so easy. Yeah, I can show you so many steps in doing this, but this is very interesting. Yeah, and then you have to have a sensor. You mentioned that we can use the camera in our iPhone or phone. Of course, my student did also the same thing at the beginning because it's very expensive, but it works. And then we bought the camera, and then it works too. So you can start anything mobile efficiently because of limited amount of funding.
Yeah, thank you very much for the best practice. Yeah. Thank you
Mhm.
again, especially for Pak Harun. Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
uh, participant of the day because you love question. Again,
There's
thank
a
you
lot
very
of
much for the
questions.
sharing.
Very good
Yeah,
question from
this really
Pahar.
insightful discussion. Yeah, very, yeah, I think a very productive discussion and fruitful for us, especially for me. Thank you very much. I think we come to the end of this plenary session. To anyone, so we have break time until 1 p.m. So 1 p.m. we will come back in the parallel session, as you already received in the booklet or information session. Again, thank you very much for Prof. Zul, and please give a big hand
Thank you,
for
Pak Wahyudi,
Thank
for
you
the
very much,
opportunity.
Prof. Zul. See you again. Yeah, yeah, and please stay healthy.
Yes, same to you and all the people in
Okay, thank
UPN.
you very much. Yeah. I will return back to the. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Caroline, Professor Naseer, and Professor Yu for giving such an informative and interesting presentation. I would also say thank you for Mr. Wahyudi Agustiono, PhD, for being the moderator of the plenary session, as well as leader of the fruitful discussion. I would like to also thank all the participants for the active participation. Please give a huge round of applause for the speakers, the moderator, and for you all. Ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to take a break until 1 p.m. Then we will continue the parallel session at 1 p.m. with the Zoom link. We need to inform you that the presenters of parallel sessions are welcome to immediately assign themselves in the breakout rooms provided by the committee. We are also pleased to invite participants of the seminar to join the breakout rooms according to the theme you are interested in. Thank you. Enjoy your Okay, ladies and gentlemen, finally, we come to the end of the second day of this international seminar. We would like to once again say thank you so much for the presenters for the informative and interesting presentation. We also would like to deliver our biggest appreciation to all of the participants for your active participation. Hopefully, the presentations will be beneficial for everybody. Before closing, we will hold a photo session. So please take a position and turn on your camera. And please, operator, would you please take the picture of us? Thank you. A photo session.
Okay, thank you.
We also would like to inform you that all of the presenters are invited to join our agenda tomorrow in the third day of the seminar, which is the evaluation program. In this agenda, we are going to announce the best paper and the best presenter, as well as some general evaluation about the papers and the program. So lastly, I am Wahyu Kestiati Sumarno as the Master of Ceremony today, and also on behalf of the organizing committee, beg your pardon of the shortcomings or mistakes that we have made. Thank you and see you tomorrow. Good afternoon and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.